Who said we wasn't gonna make it? What is up, everybody? My name is Advance and this is Advance Sports Talk. So first off, this video is sponsored by The Advance Store on Teespring. Type in www.teespring.com/store/advance6. Cop a t-shirt. Let your boy know that you support him. Alright, let's get on with it. So, final week of the NFL season has concluded, and we are now going into the playoffs. Now, I've done playoff videos across the last 3 to 4 weeks. I know there was a couple weeks in there that I missed. So, your AFC division winners and wild card holders are as follows. Seed number 1, Kansas City Chiefs, 14-2. Seed number 2, the Buffalo Bills, 13-3. Seed number 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 12-4. And seed number 4, the Tennessee Titans, 11-5. Seed number 5, the Baltimore Ravens at 11-5. Seed 6, also at 11-5, the Cleveland Browns. And seed 7, also at 11-5, the Indianapolis Colts. So, Miami Dolphins put up a valiant effort. However, the Bills dealt them the defeat that knocked them out of the playoffs. I was kind of looking forward to seeing what they was doing, but this is just letting you know that they're going to be ready next year. So, going down to the NFC, we got in seed number 1, the Green Bay Packers. In seed number 2, the New Orleans Saints. Packers is 13-3, the Saints is 12-4. Seed number 3, the Seattle Seahawks, also at 12-4. Seed number 4, we're going to get into this one in a second. The team formerly known as the Washington Redskins at 7-9. Seed number 6, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seed number 7, the Los Angeles Rams. And seed number 6 of the Los Angeles Rams at 10-6. Seed number 7, the Chicago Bears at 8-8. Now, who would have thought that you would have been able to make it into the playoffs at 8-8? Man. But listen, so this was a very up and down year. The first 4 to 8 weeks was definitely crazy, so to say the least. But in any case, I'm gonna do the games that didn't have playoff significance first, and then I'm gonna break down the other games. So, well, maybe I should just do those first. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna do those first. So, Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It wasn't even a game. The Ravens just completely washed the Bengals, 38-3. The Buccaneers versus the Falcons, and it looked like they was dominating for a moment. Then Atlanta started coming back. Then Buccaneers just ran away with the game, 44-27. Mike Evans, now the first receiver to make 1,000 yards for each of his first 7 seasons. 7 seasons with 1,000 yards apiece. That is impressive. Shit, I say keep going. Go to 10. Yeah, Ronald Jones falling just short of 1,000 yards. He was almost able to get it. He was asymptomatic for COVID-19 last week, so he couldn't play. Tom Brady throwing for 399 yards and 4 touchdowns. He threw 1 interception, which wasn't his fault. Yeah, it was Scotty Miller who didn't secure the ball right then. He landed awkwardly when he was tackling and popped up in the air. Could happen to anybody, but you see what the end result was. Antonio Brown, in a true return to form, caught 11 out of 14 targets for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Chris Godwin got 133 yards receiving. I say, if anything, try to keep that receiving core together. If we got to make changes, that's the best thing that we got going. Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills was not playing around. They really wanted that second seed. They ran the score up on the Dolphins, 56-26. Isaiah McKenzie, 2 back-to-back passing touchdowns and 1 punt return for a touchdown. So yeah, they was really trying their best to pummel Miami into submission. But hey, they kept going. Like I said, Miami gonna be back next year, and they coming with a vengeance. It's gonna be them two, Miami and Buffalo. One of those two is gonna win the division next year. Yeah, Devontae Parker, 116 yards receiving. Gabriel Davis, 2 receptions for 107 yards and 1 touchdown. Was averaging 56 yards a catch. The next one, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. And I gotta say, I called it. The Browns beat the Steelers 24-22. Mason Rudolph threw for 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Baker Mayfield threw for 196 yards, 1 touchdown. Nick Chubb ran all over him, got 108 yards rushing. Rashard Higgins was leading the receiving with 55. There wasn't a lot of air distance yards in this game. I had a feeling the Steelers wasn't going to win that game. No, Cleveland came to play. The Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants. New York Giants won 23-19. Sterling Shepard, 112 yards receiving. Identical quarterback play between Andy Dalton and Daniel Jones. The only difference is Daniel Jones threw 2 touchdowns. If Dallas would have won this game, they would have needed the Eagles to beat the Redskins. The team formerly known as the Washington Redskins. Both teams in this game needed the Eagles to beat the Redskins, or to beat the football team. That way, the division would have been decided between the Cowboys or the Giants. The Giants wanted it just a little bit more. New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. I didn't think that the Panthers was going to put up much resistance. Saints beat the Panthers 33-7. Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. Packers steamrolled the Bears 35-16. Despite that loss, the Bears still made it in. Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, Colts won 28-14. Mike Glennon having an impressive showing, going for 261 and 2 touchdowns, but couldn't get the job done. Phillip Rivers only throwing for 164 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Jonathan Taylor rushing for 253 yards and 30 carries. Tennessee Titans versus the Houston Texans. And the Texans was really trying to play spoiler. Not that they could have really played much spoiler with the Titans, because the Titans would have made it in regardless. Or would they? No, they would have been 10-4. The Texans was really trying to play spoiler, and they really put up they put up maybe the second to best fight that they did all season. The best fight they did all season, I should say. Unfortunately, a lethal combination of Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown put an end to their spoiler hopes. Yeah, Derrick Henry rushing for 250 yards and being the first running back to ever rush for 2,000 yards in a season. Roll Tide. A.J. Brown, 10 receptions out of 11 targets for 151 yards and 1 touchdown. Brandon Cooks, in a true return to his Super Bowl days with Tom Brady, caught 11 receptions out of 16 targets for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh man, yeah, Deshaun Watson was really pouring all his effort into this game, going for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns and got 1 interception. Titans pulled out the victory, 41-38. In a game that really didn't matter to the Chiefs. The LA Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers beat the Chiefs 38-21. And despite winning that game and the team trending in the right direction with Justin Herbert, on the gamble of Justin Herbert, thanks to an incompetent doctor, the Chargers organization fired head coach Anthony Lynn. And there'll be more that I'm going to talk about, on another video about that. But depending on who they hire next, Chargers are going to be good next year. They're going to be all right. The Arizona Cardinals versus the LA Rams. In a very low scoring game, which I'm surprised with all the star power that Arizona has. The Rams beat the Cardinals 18-7. The Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. Once again, 49ers attempting to play spoiler, or at least try to mess up the Seahawks seeding, played a hard-fought game. Seahawks beat the 49ers 26-23. The team formerly known as the Washington Redskins versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Once again, there was some controversy with this. The Eagles coaching, very questionable. This game was in hand. But Doug Peterson has some kind of hard on for wanting to go for it on fourth down when it's not even necessary. So there was an instance where they could have tied the game 17-14, and they could have tied it with field goal. Then, for reasons that are beyond me, he didn't do it. He didn't kick the field goal. Then he benches Jalen Hurts. It didn't look like they was planning to really win that game. That's just if you ask me. I mean, come on now. You gotta do better than that. I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about Doug Peterson being chased through South Philly, or another case of raining batteries. All right, so this was actually a hopeful for the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions, and they still decided to put up an impressive showing, 37-35. But they beat the Vikings. The Vikings beat the Lions 37-35. Dalvin Cook was sitting out this game, so Alexander Madison took over. Now, if you remember that name, he was a big name that was mentioned about 2 months ago when Dalvin Cook sustained an injury, and they were saying Madison came in and took off. This is gonna be, and then fantasy owners jumped on him and picked him up, and he did nothing. Because the game plan fell behind. Yeah, he bounced back in this game, ran for 95 yards and 1 touchdown. Adrian Peterson made it through a full season healthy. Oh, congrats, brother. Congrats. Oh, man. Justin Jefferson wrapping up an impressive career, an impressive first season. Caught 9 out of 12 targets for 133 yards. Marvin Jones, 8 out of 11 targets for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Man, yeah, Kirk Cousins had to try on this one. Throwing for 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stafford threw for 293 and 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. The Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. Man, this game came down to the wire. Raiders beat the Broncos 32-31. Both quarterbacks threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr threw 2 interceptions. Darren Waller caught 9 out of 10 targets for 117 yards. Jerry Jeudy caught 5 out of 7 targets for 140 yards and 1 touchdown. It's going to be an impressive season next year. All right, so to the following teams, thank you for your service. Miami Dolphins, Las Vegas Raiders, New England Patriots, LA Chargers, Denver Broncos, Cincinnati Bengals, Houston Texans, New York Jets, Jacksonville Jaguars. That's for AFC. In the NFC, Arizona Cardinals, Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco 49ers, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers, Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles, and Atlanta Falcons. We will see you all next year. That's going to do it for this episode of Advanced Sports Talk. Now it's just going to be strictly playoffs. So playoff video will be coming either today, either tomorrow or Friday, or tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, sometime later this week. But in any case, my name is Advance. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Advance110, at Advanced Sports Talk on Facebook. Check out my gaming channel, Advanced Plays or VMX9999 on YouTube. At Advanced Plays on Facebook. This is Advanced Perception, where we have a cosmic level of thinking. Like, share, subscribe on everything. I'm out.
Jerry Jones don't care about black people.